Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I am Preeti Choudhry. Let's begin with these visuals that have come in from Badlapur, Maharashtra, where citizens out on the streets in protest due to inaction by the Maharashtra police, all over the rape of two 4-year-old young girls by a school sweeper. This happened just a short while ago. Later on, the police actually lathi-charged the protesters. Let's move on to the next set of images. These images played out through the course of the last 1 week, where the streets of Kolkata were awash with rage over the rape and murder of a 31-year-old junior doctor while on duty at the government-run RG hospital in Kolkata. These visuals continue even right now as I speak on the streets of Kolkata in protest. Let's move on to the third set of images that came in today, where finally, after 32 years, the POCSO court giving its verdict of a life sentence over a case where a gang victimized, sexually abused over 100 girls from an affluent private school in Ajmer in the year 1992, 32 years ago. The girls were then between the age group of 11 years to 20 years. Today, some, as grandmothers, have come to court as witnesses to seek justice. Justice for what happened to them 32 years ago. Or, let's take a look at the hard, cold data that we have refused to read, where as per the National Crime Records Bureau, one woman is raped in India every 16 minutes. And those are reported cases. Yet, the conviction rate for rape in India stands at an abysmal 27%, even when one woman officially reported raped every 16 minutes, the conviction rate is 27%. Incidents after incidents, will we now as a country finally attempt to face up to a mirror we have long avoided, acknowledge without taking refuge in empty rhetoric like no country for women or justice for our daughters? Will we finally acknowledge the fact that we are as a country terribly unsafe for our women? Acknowledge that we have always put the onus of sexual abuse on women, that we as a country have given a proverbial free pass to men to pinch our bottoms, grope us and sexually harass us. But strangely, as an entire country, when we hear news of rape, we are stunned. These incidents are based on reported cases, not the unreported ones. They fail to capture the everyday harassment all women face that is largely normalized as eve-teasing. Culturally, India is a predominantly patriarchal society, making it difficult for women to find their voice, be heard, seek justice. Victim blaming is rampant and the painful, slow judicial system doesn't help either. Meanwhile, the infamous gang rape case of Rajasthan from 1992, referred to as the Ajmer scandal, is an open wound even today. What is closure after 32 years? Let's get you another example. The Shopian rape and murder case where two young women, 17 and 20 years, were raped and murdered in May 2009 was discussed and debated heavily, but even after passing of more than 15 years, that trial is yet to be concluded. Stigmatization of survivors, India continues to fail those who have survived. While in death we deify gang rape victim Nirbhaya or now Abhaya, but those who survived are not just ignored but ostracized. Bhavari Devi, Suzette Jordan, two women who broke ground by publicly coming forward to report sexual crimes. As a poor Dalit woman working for the state government, Devi was raped by 5 upper caste men for trying to stop child marriage in a North Indian village in 1992. Her willingness to speak about the crime informed the first Indian laws around sexual harassment in workplace, since Devi was raped while on the job. Suzette Jordan, who was raped in 2013, refused to hide behind the anonymous label of the Park Street rape victim, directly responded to those who tried to defame her. Jordan was gang raped in February 2012 and was labelled a liar and a prostitute. Even then, she had said, how dare they call me a prostitute even if I were, should I have got raped. These two women, one rural Dalit, the other urban and middle class, should have been considered icons of the Indian women movement because their singular act of courage not only resulted in actual legal change but effectively challenged broader cultural perceptions. However, both since have been ostracized by their society and forgotten by us. Nirbhaya and Abhaya are dead. But what lives on as glaring pieces of our apathy are in those who have survived, those who let down each day when we seek justice for those who died. And if we don't change, the faces will. Nirbhaya will become Abhaya, Shakti Mill survivor will become the Spanish tourist rape survivor, Gudiya in Delhi will become the 2-3-year-old toddlers in Badlapur. And what will remain is the social media outrage with empty statements like no country for women. So how can India end its rape epidemic? The answer is not simple. It includes a combination of a reformed justice system, the slow dismantling of patriarchy, the acceptance of the harmful rape culture we as a society perpetuate on a daily basis. And despite of all the ego and national pride, accept that we are neck deep in an epidemic. With that, let's also now quickly cut across what happened today. The Supreme Court took suo motu cognizance of the Kolkata rape and murder. The top court today wrapped the Mamata government over the horror. In scathing observations, the Supreme Court pointed out multiple questions for the Mamata Sarkar. During the hearing, CGI raised critical questions on actions of Mamata government, hospital administration and local police following the brutal rape and murder. The top court slammed Mamata over delay in filing an FIR in the rape and murder case, asking what were hospital authorities doing. The Chief Justice of India even questioned Mamata over inaction against ex-principal Sandeep Ghosh. The Chief Justice also blasted Kolkata Police for not protecting the crime scene when the mob attacked protesters and destroyed the emergency ward. Questioning the timing, the CGI said that the body was found at 7:30 a.m., was sent for post-mortem between 1 to 4 p.m., handed over for cremation at around 8:30 p.m. Then why was the FIR filed at 11:45 p.m.? The bench also took on the Kolkata Police, asking how a mob of thousands entered the Arjekar Medical College, also saying that a task force would be constituted to protect our health workers.
What was the principal doing? Why did he not? One, why was this kind of inaction on the part first an attempt to pass this off as a suicide instead of a murder?
I'm sorry, Mother, that's not correct.
Not recording, not registering an FIR till late in the evening. Third, the body itself is handed over to the parents sometime in the evening for cremation. Fourth, and that's a matter of very serious concern. On the next day, the doctors, because they were all doctors working with her, the doctors are on protest. A group of persons, a mob assembles at the hospital. The hospital is invaded and the critical facilities are damaged in the morning or whenever the mob enters. What was the police doing?
Yes. But we have videos for all. Let me first of all state.
Actually, Mr. Sibon, the police, a very serious offense has taken place. The crime scene is within the precincts of the hospital. Now, that is the first thing that the police have to do, namely to protect the crime scene. What are they doing?
Well, that's
allow vandals to enter the hospital?
Let's cut across to our guest this evening. Joining me, Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson, BJP, Tausif Ahmed Khan, Advocate and Political Analyst. Sanjay Hegde, with what the court, after taking suo motu cognizance of the case, what do you make of the observations today?
Well, there are two kinds of actions that the Supreme Court is contemplating. One is the mega problem. And the Supreme Court's order itself records not only the Arjekar incident, but it records incidents from other states as well, saying that we have a national problem with regard to the safety of women, specifically with regard to doctors and health workers all over the country. In the context of the Arjekar incident, which is the Calcutta incident, the Supreme Court has asked very pointed questions. It has obviously made its displeasure known with regard to the principal and his being shifted to another hospital, continuing in a job. Then the Supreme Court was told that, look, after the High Court's judgment, he is no longer working anywhere. He's been sent on leave. The Supreme Court wants to know that what the status of the CBI investigation is. That's why it's kept it day after tomorrow for a comprehensive report from the CBI. Obviously, the Supreme Court called it a moment of national catharsis. We've had Nirbhaya earlier, as you have mentioned. I happened to assist the Supreme Court as an amicus in that case with regard to the death sentence matter. And I've seen this kind of, what shall we say, a moment where the public generally says enough is enough. The Supreme Court tried to address that sentiment, which possibly was lacking in some respects, at least as far as the local administration, the college concerned, and then maybe the administration in Calcutta. The Supreme Court said that protect the protesters. It was at my instance. I was also appearing for a public interest litigant who was a lawyer of the Supreme Court.
All right.
The takeaway I have is that the court has decided that it is not going to sit on its hands. This is an incident which requires more than a normal investigation. It requires systemic solutions to see that it does not occur again.
Right.
So that is why the National Task Force, with as many as 10 eminent doctors, 4 of whom are women.
Right.
I think that what you can say that the Supreme Court decided it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness.
Okay. Sanju Verma, while there were scathing observations for how the case was handled by the Kolkata Police, there also seems to be an understanding today by the court that this is something which is not just limited to a West Bengal or Kolkata. It can happen in any state, thus the need of a task force.
You know, Preeti, first and foremost, thank you for giving a very comprehensive introduction at the start of your show, listing out the various heinous crimes and how women have been named and shamed for no fault of theirs. Coming straight to the query that you've put forth, yes, whether I like it or not, the fact is that rapes happen in West Bengal, they happen in Maharashtra, they happen in Uttar Pradesh, they happen in Karnataka, they happen in Telangana, they happen in Haryana, what have you. I only say this, Preeti, what makes this West Bengal Kolkata horror is the massive cover-up job in collusion with the state police, in collusion with the hospital manned and owned by the West Bengal government, by the West Bengal regime. It is this hatchet job, it is this cover-up job, it is this collusion which is, showcasing the stinking hypocrisy of the only woman chief minister of India. And I will repeat this ad nauseum. I have done a zillion debates on this issue, but I will never get tired of saying Mamata Banerjee has failed as the chief minister, Mamata Banerjee has failed as the home minister, Mamata Banerjee has failed as the health minister. And if you notice, there is one similarity between the Supreme Court and the Kolkata High Court observations, Preeti. Both the Apex Court and the Kolkata High Court have asked why the delay in filing FIR. Why did the hospital authorities did not file a formal complaint? If you remember, the Kolkata High Court last week said, why did the state file a complaint of unnatural death when an investigation is already underway? And why the special treatment to the doctor? Obviously, it is Sandeep Ghosh that the Supreme Court was asking, and it is Sandeep Ghosh who was sent on a long leave by the Kolkata High Court, because Mamata Banerjee, when she had the opportunity, rather than taking Sandeep Ghosh to task and sacking him, she actually rewarded him and promoted him as principal of National Medical College, one of the most prestigious medical colleges in the country. So I think the Kolkata High Court and the Supreme Court are in tandem when it comes to calling out the bluff the incompetence, the shoddy nature of the investigation, the absolute abandonment of their duties by the Kolkata Police, which incidentally reports into Mamata Banerjee, and the other and very important thing, both the Apex Court and the Kolkata High Court have come down like a ton of bricks on Mamata Banerjee by asking, why is it that the deceased parents were kept waiting for over 3 hours? Imagine passing off a gruesome rape and murder, perhaps a gang rape, as a suicide. This is a question that the Supreme Court asked. This is a question that the Kolkata High Court asked. And I'm sorry to say, forget as a woman, as a bona fide citizen of this country, Mamata Banerjee has still chosen not to give answers. All she does is ram, bam, falana, dhamkina. The biggest thing and the most important thing for a neta to do is to ensure that there is a semblance of accountability. You do not need to be only doing right, you need to be seen to be doing right, and Mamata Banerjee has failed on both counts. I think the inflection point has been reached. Enough is enough is what the Janta of Bengal is saying. Mamata Banerjee istifa do. This is a public outcry now, not limited to national debates. This is something which the Aam Janta on the ground is demanding answers.
Okay.
Why is Mamata Banerjee quiet?
I want to bring in Tawseef Ahmed. Tawseef Ahmed, strong observations by the top court of the country, where how the entire case was mishandled by the administration, which is the Mamata Banerjee government, as well as the Kolkata Police. You know, one can take refuge that the court spoke of a larger issue which prevails our country and taking cognizance of that as well. But ultimately, Tawseef Ahmed, because now it's coming in from the judiciary, it's coming in from the streets, and understandably, you know, if whatever one might say, politically, there is heat on Mamata Banerjee.
Preeti, I welcome the suo motu action taken by the Supreme Court and the order that was passed today, because the Supreme Court has put the focus right on the subject that really matters. And that is the women's safety, especially in the workplace, especially with the doctors across the country. Supreme Court has acknowledged that this kind of incident does not only happen in Kolkata, and it is happening across the country. And that is why National Task Force is formed by the Supreme Court, and they will look after the measures to prevent this kind of incident in the future across the country. It is not limited only to this one specific case in Kolkata. Much to the dismay, I know the BJP spokesperson is disheartened today. BJP spokesperson is so disappointed today because the Supreme Court did not pass any order for removal of the Mamata Banerjee as the chief minister. Supreme Court order did not pass any material.
How can the Supreme Court even ask for the removal of the chief minister?
Which will help them for toppling of the...
No, 1 second. How can even the Supreme Court can't even get in to ask for the removal of the chief minister? That's a little, you know, bizarre and very... It's a fig leaf to take refuge in. 1 second, sir. Okay, I just want to bring in Sanjay Hegde as well into this conversation. Sanjay Hegde, final comments now. The sheer fact with what the Supreme Court said today, because yes, it did speak of the mishandling of the entire case, but on a larger level, constituting a task force which is way beyond West Bengal. And one can understand the Supreme Court at least gave a direction of moving ahead, especially where the safety of health workers are concerned. Now can we look at a cohesive law?
Cohesive law will have to come from the central government.
Yes.
There was, in fact, a draft which was pending with the central government, which it was then brought in as a private member's bill, but then it lapsed. There definitely has to be a law protecting health doctors and health workers inside hospitals. Rape is, of course, an extreme form of violence. There are other violent incidents also which involve doctors. Doctors and health workers need to feel safe in hospitals before they can bring effective health care to patients at large. That is one part of the problem. The other part, that's the mega problem. The micro problem with regard to RG Kar cannot remain unaddressed. You need an effective investigation, a speedy one, followed by a trial as quickly as can be consistent with the rule of law, and taken to its logical conclusion if there is a particular sentence.
Sanju Verma, the fact is one can say that it's time that Mamata Banerjee quits because she's failed West Bengal. If you're going to go by that, then one can say Eknath Shinde needs to quit with what is happening in Badlapur. At least the FIR was registered within hours where West Bengal Kolkata case was concerned. There it took days even for the first FIR to come in.
Preeti, I started by saying that rapes happen in various states. Every 51 minutes, there is one rape in the country and 4 cases of sexual assault or sexual molestation. These statistics are horrifying. What I'm trying to prove here is a simple fact, and you don't need to be a rocket scientist to acknowledge this. In BJP-ruled states, by and large, heads have rolled, be it Hathras, be it Unnao, and even Devendra Fadnavis, by virtue of being the Home Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister, has told the Thane Police Commissioner, because Badlapur comes under the Thane district, the Superintendent of Police of Badlapur, the Assistant Sub-Inspector, the Sub-Inspector, and the Badlapur Thana in charge, they have all been suspended. My question is, by virtue of that logic, where heads have rolled in BJP-ruled states, when a ghastly crime against a woman happens, why is it that Vineet Goyal, the police commissioner, has not been sacked by Mamata Banerjee? Why is it that the Lal Bazar Thana chief in Kolkata has not been sacked by Mamata Banerjee? Why is it that Narda and Sarada tainted Rajiv Kumar, who's the DGP of West Bengal, is mollycoddled by Mamata Banerjee, far from being sacked? And don't forget, Preeti, don't forget one very important thing, which both the Apex Court and the Kolkata High Court mentioned, and I think Mr. Hegde also said that. Imagine a crowd of 7,000 people gathering, breaking barricades and vandalizing the scene of the crime, which was already contaminated to start with. I think that is as shameless and as
no, one second, Sanjay Verma, that has been refuted even in court today by Mr. Kapil Sibal, that the scene of crime was not vandalized. It's not been vandalized. That's what the Kolkata police said. Okay, fine. Ma'am, because I'll tell you, there's a fair amount of misinformation also floating about. But, you say heads rolled. Many suggest no, heads did not roll in Hathras. Heads did not roll elsewhere as well.
Was there a cover-up by the Maharashtra police, like the Kolkata
Ma'am,
police?
I'm talking about Hathras with what you said. But I just want to cut across. I want to cut across to Tausif Ahmed Khan. Tausif Ahmed Khan, the sheer fact is that there has been a systematic letdown at various fronts by the Mamata Banerjee government. And now it's not coming from anyone but her biggest constituency, which is women.
Preeti, I absolutely agree. I myself, you, or Mr. Sanjay Hegde, and everybody else in the country is interested in seeing that justice is delivered to the victim. How the justice will be delivered, that this accused, Mr. Sanjay, the accused who is in CBI custody now should be hanged to death ASAP. And also that the truth must come out, the full truth, whether it was a gang rape or whether there was really an attempt to wash away the crime scene and everything, all the allegation which is there. Who is responsible for it? Who is going to give answer to this?
Sir, you're an advocate to call for immediate hanging. I'm just a little bizarre. Okay, I'm going to close the show. I appreciate all three of you for joining us.